The question seems to be how you seal or vacuum seal an oddball jar. Now everybody knows if you've got the food saver and it comes with this attachment on here, you can put it on your regular largemouth jar, push the button, it seals it just fine. But how do you seal this jar, or this one, or this little small ring jar right here? How do you seal any of those three, or any of the others that come along? One thing that all sealed jars have in common pretty much is when you buy them, like this here is a sauerkraut jar, it has a clicking top. This here is a jar of peaches came in this, and it has a clicking top. This one here is just your ordinary little curved smallmouth jar, fruit jar, it has a clicking top. So anything that has pretty much a clicking top has been under vacuum. So the question is, and remains, how do we seal them? And if you have a little, the food saver vacuum seal, I'll show you the little trick that I learned quite a while back. The first thing you need to do is go down to the hardware store and pick yourself up a little piece of this 1/4 inch flexible, soft, flexible tubing, and insert it and put it right on the end of your seal-a-meal nozzle thing there. So now I'm going to show you how much vacuum you can pull on a little jar. The second thing you do is you poke a hole in the jar and use a little brad nail, not just a little bitty nail down there, just a little bitty brad nail. Poke just the smallest hole you can in the jar. You just hold up the light, as long as you can see daylight through it, it's just fine. So now we're going to turn on the seal-a-meal. I got the vacuum. Now you watch the gauge over there. I'm going to put this vacuum deal right over the hole. And look at that vacuum go up. Look at that. So the machine shut off and we were pulling 20 inches of vacuum. Now, if I had a piece of tape in both hands here, but I'm holding the camera with one hand, I would put a piece of tape across that hole real fast like that, and now that jar is vacuum sealed with about 18 or 20 inches of vacuum. So that's how it's done. Release it. Okay, now you heard a little snap, the lid snap. Now all these jars over here, this happens to be a peach jar. This one here was one of my favorite sauerkraut jars that I use. And to very carefully take the lid off. You can pry the lid very easily. Or if you find the lid extremely hard to get off because the vacuum is holding it down, there's over 60 or 70 pounds of push on that lid and you're trying to take it off while it's under vacuum. Of course, this little clicker is sealed down like that. Take your little brad and tap a little bitty hole just off center of about halfway between the center and tap a little bitty hole. If you do that, then you can turn around and we can put a little vacuum thing over the thing. Gotta get it over the hole exactly. Now I'm doing this one-handed, and as you can see, after I got my vacuum, I shoved this piece of tape over the hole. And you can see the tape is kind of indented a little bit, and that will seal the jar. That jar will stay sealed for a year or two without any problem at all. And when you get ready to use the jar, take it off the shelf, pull a little tape back, and wait a minute or two, bonk, there she goes. So that is my method of sealing, and I'm quite sure you can do with a little bit of ingenuity, you can figure it all out for yourself. This is Old Tom the Jar Sealer signing off.